Alright, so the Kaizo Ironmon Generation 3 tier list. So last week we made the ability tier list. This week we're going to do the individual mons. So before we start, let's just discuss the categories. So S tier is insanely good. This is basically mons that, even with like the worst possible spreads, are always going to be able to achieve something. A is very good. This is mons that you can consistently run them. They have good typing. They learn a lot of moves. They're not as broken as these guys. Like these guys are literally the creme de la creme. But A is still really strong. B is reliable. This is mons that you don't need to high roll an ability on or something. So, you know, like Scissor is an unreliable mon because you typically need to absolutely pop off. Yeah, unreliable, kind of self-explanatory. This is mons that could be good, but you're kind of banking on a perfect spread or an ability or something to make them work. Generally bad is, you know, that's a lot of stuff. This is things that you might be able to win with, but maybe they're a little bit too low on... Steven's running a Scissor right now. This is stuff that's a little bit underwhelming, but could theoretically win with the right moveset. F is almost impossible. You know, this is like you theoretically could win, but you are having to roll insane abilities, insane moves, insane setup. You have to get really lucky. Trash tier is basically you'll never win, and banned is, you know, legendaries and stuff like that. So with the smaller things that you would never run, we can sort those out pretty quickly. But there'll be a lot more discussion points with you like when I say creme de la creme. There'll be more discussion about the bigger things. So things like Bulbasaur, trash tier. Like even if you were to evolve Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, like, you know, you're going to probably have to re-evolve, or you're going to get something like absolutely useless. So things like that, Caterpie, Metapod, Weedle, Kakuna, Pidgey, like all the small things that evolving like doesn't really save. You can very easily pop those all in the trash tier. Does it even make sense to use pre-evolved mons? No, they just happen to be here, so we'll just filter them into the trash. It's not a big deal. So Ivysaur, Charmeleon, and Wartortle are all in the low 400 BST range. You could technically evolve these guys. It would be pretty hard to do, though. So out of the three, I think Wartortle gets the best evolution pool. So I would say Wartortle can go into probably the generally bad tier. I'd be inclined to put all three of these in the generally bad tier. Like, yes, they are very hard to evolve because you have to get to level 36. But in Kaizo, if you can get past Brock, you know, you can clean out Mount Moon and get to 36 just past Nugget Bridge. So it's not impossible to evolve them. So I would say these guys are generally bad. But I have seen runs take advantage of these. Let's start with the big three here then. So Charizard, I would say, can go in the... Ooh, Charizard's a tough one. See, I'm inclined to put Charizard in the unreliable category. But in Kaizo, where you're wanting to rely on setup and stuff, I think he can maybe go in the reliable category. Blastoise is very good. Blastoise is a fantastic typing. He's a really high BST. In actual fact, Blastoise is probably S tier because water typing is really good defensively. It has a fantastic offensive stab. Blastoise is a Gen 1 starter, so he learns quite a lot of moves. Blastoise is just a very good, reliable mon. Water typings in general are going to be very favored in this tier list. They are just very, very strong generally. Venusaur is better than your average grass Pokemon. Venusaur only has 4 weaknesses rather than 5, but they're pretty nasty. You've got things like Fire, Ice, and Psychic, and Flying. So all 4 of those weaknesses are really, really bad. So I would be inclined to put Venusaur in the reliable category. I don't think it's very good. I think those 4 weaknesses are so bad. You are probably going to get smacked pretty badly by a psychic move or, you know, a fire move at some point. So you can't really get a good defensive line to cover all your bases. You know, thick fat or something makes Venusaur insanely good, but we're not really looking for outliers here. What do you guys reckon with Charizard? I think this is a tough one. I think Charizard's either slightly worse than Venusaur, or he's down in the unreliable category. I think Charizard's pretty dicey. You reckon C, you reckon B? He's weak to electric, water, and 4 times weak to rock. But he is a high BST mon. He learns a lot of moves, and he has fantastic stab. I think we can maybe put him as a very low B. I think his stabs are really, really fantastic. Rock moves miss a lot. There's not that many of them. I think he's very low B. Okay, almost impossible, Butterfree and Beedrill. Maybe if you get huge power or something, you can make them work. But other than that, they're such low BST, you're just not going to have a good time with them. I'd say Beedrill's better than Butterfree, in my experience, though. I like the Poison Bug combo a little bit more than the alternative. Yeah, we can always move them around. I think for now, Charizard is a very low B, makes sense. Its main thing is that rock weakness, and you know you want to be going first and sweeping most of the time in Kaizo, and rocks are very prone to missing. Let's see, Pidgeotto. What does let's see what Pidgeotto can turn into. Porygon 2, Ursaring, Exploud, Wigglytuff. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff's very underwhelming. Like, if you get Zangoose, he's not amazing. Scyther, you have to re-evolve. I'd say Pidgeotto is generally bad, and I'd say Pidgeotto is probably worse than the other three. Pidgeotto can turn into some okay things, and normal flying is a good typing to try and evolve from. Evo runs are just very, very inconsistent. But if we're rating the individual mon and then like the prospect of Evo and stuff, like I'd say it's very low on the D. Pidgeotto, on the other hand, is what 468 BST or something. I would say Pidgeotto is reliable, but it's on the lower end of reliable. I like its typing. I like its typing a lot. It's immune to Ghost. So 469 BST, it's immune to Ghost and it's immune to Ground. And immunity is really, really nice when the random AI will throw a ground move at you and stuff. There's a pretty significant BST difference here. Charizard gets like 70 BST over Pidgeotto. Pidgeot. And because you want to be sweeping in Kaizo, I still think Charizard edges it out. Raticate really sucks. Raticate doesn't get that. Like, Raticate gets a lot of moves early, but it's a low BST. I would say Raticate is generally bad. I think the potential of these three probably places Raticate here. I'd say these three are brimming with potential for cool Evos. It's very hard to evolve a Pidgeotto. At least Raticate, you might be able to get past Brock, like if you get a lucky moveset and stuff, but let's be honest, Raticate's not going to do much for you. Fearow, I think, goes in the unreliable category. I think Fearow has some potential. I've taken a Fearow to Sabrina in Survival. But Fearow, you'd be looking to get a pretty damn good spread. How does Fearow's BST compare to Pidgeot's? 442, so it's a little bit lower. Yeah, I think it's either very low B or it's very high C. I've never personally seen anybody like run a good Fearow and Kaizo, and I got that one good one in Survival, but the odds of making it work are just so low. Sandshrew, complete trash. Like all the trash tier can just be thrown in there. We don't have to organize these guys. Let's see, Arbok. Poison typing is pretty nice. Being immune to being poisoned, and poison is the worst status to deal with in Kaizo, is a big deal. Arbok's not exactly a high BST. I also don't think Arbok learns a ton of moves. Arbok only learns 2 moves pre-Brock, and then it learns the rest of its moves very slowly. It's only 438 BST. I would say Arbok is probably even harder to make work than Fearow. Fearow at least gets really good stabs. Like, you can pretty reliably get a normal or flying move. Like, Poison is not a very good typing, like, offensively. So I think Arbok can be unreliable. Pikachu. Pikachu is literally trying to gamble on getting a Thunderstone. How often are you going to get a Thunderstone at the start of the game with a Pikachu? I'm going to put Pikachu here in the almost impossible category. If you happen to get a Thunderstone, you can evolve it. That would make it better than these two, but let's be honest, that's going to happen basically none of the time. Raichu sucks. Raichu is absolutely trash. Raichu is only like moderate, midline 400 BST. It doesn't learn any moves. I've never seen a good Raichu like go the distance. Raichu can go really low in the generally bad category. Like, Raichu is just like lacking in potential, whereas these guys at least can, amount to something. Sandslash is also pretty bad. Sandslash is ground typing. Ground typing is weak to ice, which is really bad in my opinion. Let's just have a look at how many moves Sandslash learns. 2, 4, 6, 8 moves, 3 pre-Brock. So it's slightly easier. I mean, like, the 6th one's kind of bad, though, because you're never going to catch one at 5. If you get Sandslash out of the lab, it's 450 BST. I think you could take a Sandslash fairly deep into the game. I don't expect it to win. So I would put Sandslash probably below Arbok in the unreliable category. It's pretty hard to make that work. All right, Nidorina and Nidorino are Moonstone Evos, but they also can do some work in their own right. So they are 365 BST, and they learn quite a few moves. So similar to Pikachu, like, you have to get a Moonstone to make them work in the long term. But I think unlike Pikachu, they can at least go under their own steam for the early game. So I would be inclined to put these guys in the generally bad category. It's not impossible to make these work. You can try and copium up to a Moonstone, but they can go very low here. You're just not going to make much use of them, let's be honest. That's Nidoran, there we go. Nidoking, Nidoqueen, these guys are unreliable, and I would put them in the low end of unreliable. They have pretty bad weaknesses, like being weak to ice, being weak to ground, psychic, like pretty nasty things to be weak to. They don't learn moves. They're pretty good BST. I would say these two are more likely to be good than Arbok, but less so than Fearow. I think Fearow has those immunities, immunity to ghost, immunity to ground. Nidoqueen and Nidoking, just, very exposed defensively, which isn't amazing. Let's see, Oddish is trash, Paris is trash, Zubat is, of course, trash. These ones are interesting, Jigglypuff and Clefairy. So again, we're basically talking about Moonstone Evos here. They can just go at the very bottom of almost impossible. Like, the things they turn into aren't even that good. The odds of getting a Moonstone are extremely low. You're probably just never going to get anything done with these two. Clefable, I would also say, is almost impossible. Clefable doesn't learn moves. What's its BST? 473. It's better than I thought. I mean, I've got confirmation bias on Clefable because I've just never, ever had a good one. It's the same as Raichu. Like, it's a crapshoot. Yeah, I would say Clefable can probably go slightly above Raichu just in terms of BST. And you got that ghost immunity. You can get normal stab pretty easily. There's a lot of normal moves in the game. I think Wigglytuff can go in the same spot. Yeah, these two are very very hard to make work, but there's some small amount of potential. Okay, Vulpix, similar to Pikachu. Firestone leads to better Evos. Vulpix is pretty, Ninetales is a decent BST, so Vulpix can turn into some good stuff. So we're going to put this in the higher end of the category there. Ninetales is also a stoner. Ninetales doesn't learn any moves. Again, fire typing is good because you can't be burned. Ninetales can probably go... I'd say Ninetales goes here. Ninetales doesn't have the same level of potential as these three. It's generally pretty hard to make it work. But if you get a decent little Ninetales, you can cobble a moveset together. Alright, this is an interesting one. Golbat. Charizard B, unserved, rip. Golbat's a really, really tough call. What's up, Elemental? This is a really tough call. If Golbat didn't evolve, Ninetales and Arcanine are C. Arcanine's probably B tier. You can make an Arcanine work, like, in most cases. It's just such a good BST. A few people are saying C for Ninetales, so I'll put it there for now and we'll figure it out. If Golbat never evolved, Golbat would actually be really good because Flying Poison's a good typing. It's a good BST. It learns a lot of moves. The fact that Golbat does evolve into some pretty trash stuff more often than not, and it can't turn into Crobat, and Crobat's really good. I think Golbat can go at the very height of Unreliable. I think Golbat can be absolutely fantastic, and then you just evolve it and it's absolutely trash. But I've seen Golbat Evos work. You can get a pretty sweet Dragonite or something. The 600 BST Mon. You can make that work, especially in Kaizo with setup. Yeah, the stat, it's the same as all Evos. The stat redistribution is just so unreliable. But I'd say just because Golbat it's very possible to not even farm steps on Golbat. You can just run it as a normal run and let it evolve naturally. So you can at least get to the Diglett Cave pivot with Golbat before you evolve it. That's the cool thing. So if you evolve it and it's trash, you can try and pivot. So I think Golbat's unreliable, but I think he's the height of unreliable mons. His potential is high. Parasect is... I'd say Parasect is trash. I'd say it's high trash, but being 4 times weak to flying and fire, terrible. Terrible, terrible mon. Gloom. Gloom is another stoner. Gloom does turn into some good stuff though, and Gloom is not impossible to run in the early game. So to me, Gloom fits in with these two here. I'd say Gloom is worse than these two because these guys can turn into ground or poison. Gloom turns into grass or... Oh, it has 2 stones. That's right, it has Sunstone as well. So it ultimately probably turns into worse things, but it's more easy to make it happen. Okay, let's put Gloom... I mean, both of Gloom's Evos are pretty high BST. Let's put Gloom here then. So it's generally bad, but you can pilot a Gloom through Brock if you get lucky, and you can get those stones. So Vileplume, I believe, is terrible. Let me have a little look here. Learns 1 move, 480 BST. It's weak to fire, it's weak to flying, it's weak to psychic, it's weak to ice. Same as Venusaur. So Vileplume is just a significantly worse Venusaur. Venusaur learns moves. Vileplume does not. Vileplume's a lower BST. I think Vileplume can go in the generally bad category. Honestly, I think Vileplume probably goes... Maybe Vileplume's here? Vileplume really is pretty bad. Like, Vileplume is barely better than Gloom. At least Gloom learns moves. Vileplume is just, like, a worse Venusaur in every possible way. Alright, Venonat, trash. Venomoth is not the worst thing ever. Venomoth is like a Golbat that doesn't evolve. Venomoth learns 2/3 moves pre-Brock. It's 450 BST. I would put Venomoth in the unreliable category. I would say it's possible to make a Venomoth work. It's not likely, but you get stabbed on bug poison. It's definitely C tier. The question is where. What do you guys reckon Venomoth sits in the C tier? I'm almost inclined to put it here. It's not quite as good as Fearow. After the Nidos, I guess the Nidos are pretty strong, like, if they get the moves. You're never going to want to run a Venomoth. Like, Venomoth is definitely a last resort. I guess we can put it here, then. I do think people sleep on Venomoth, though. I think, like, the fact that it learns moves is a big deal. Right, Diglett's trash. Meowth's trash. Psyduck's trash. Alright, Growlithe is better than Vulpix, because Growlithe, once again, can turn into some really good stuff, but how often are you going to get a Firestone? It's very hard to pilot a Growlithe if you don't get a Firestone at the start of the game. So, yeah, it can't be poison. I do like Venomoth, personally. Let's see, Dugtrio. Dugtrio is basically Sandslash. I would say it's worse, though. Dugtrio is slightly lower BST than Sandslash. Yeah, you're just going to find it very hard to achieve much with a Dugtrio. It's a pretty low BST mon. Ground typing just inherently has pretty bad weaknesses. Let's see how many moves Dugtrio learns. That level 5 move is meaningless because you'll never get that. So it basically learns 2 moves pre-Brock, so it's definitely worse. It's significantly worse than Sandslash. You think Ninetales should be higher? Let's see. It is 505 BST. I guess Ninetales can actually probably go here. I think Ninetales can go above the King and the Queen because it's higher BS. It's high BST. It can't be burned. I don't rate Ninetales as much as Fearow, though. I think Fearow can at least get moves. Ninetales are just really, banking on finding something. Persian is also pretty dicey. Persian's not great BST. Persian's only 440. It learns 2 moves pre-Brock, which is awful. The odds of making a Persian work are very, very low. I would put Persian higher than Dugtrio, but lower than Sandslash. Golduck. Golduck is not nearly as bad as people seem to think. People do shit on the duck. It's got 500 BST. You get 2 moves pre-Brock. It does learn very few moves overall. Water typing is strong. I would put Golduck in the reliable category, 100%. I would say Golduck is more reliable than Pidgeot. The question is, how does he stack up against Charizard and Venusaur? Exactly, Steven. Like, Golduck comparatively, if you match him up against something like Milo or Blastoise, he seems bad. He doesn't get very many moves, so the chance to actually cobble a good Golduck together is a little bit lower. Charizard and Venusaur have the BST advantage, and they learn a lot more moves. So yeah, I think I like where he is. Primeape. This one's tough. I've never witnessed a Primeape run, like, straight up. Like, I've never tried. I've never seen anyone running one. Primeape learns, let's say 3. If it comes out of the lab, 4, but 3 moves pre-Brock. It's 4, 5, 5. I think offensively, fighting typing is really pretty good. It covers you against steels and ice and some pretty big things, some rocks. You are weak to flying and psychic, which I really, really dislike, though. I think Primeape probably belongs here, between Venomoth and Arbok. Primeape's just such a tough call because no one runs him. Like, who the hell runs a Primeape? Nobody. I think on paper I would put Primeape here because offensively fighting's pretty good. He does learn quite a few moves. I honestly, if I get a chance to run a Primeape and sometime soon, maybe I will. Not better than Ninetales. I guess the BST is a big factor. I mean, in that regard, like, probably here. Well, you originally said between Venomoth and Arbok. Maybe I agree with that. I do rate Venomoth pretty highly. I think, you know, Venomoth has some immunities as well. All right, Arcanine. Arcanine's an interesting one. Arcanine is a stoner, but he's also the highest BST Mon you're allowed to run normally. I think Arcanine is the pinnacle of the Unreliable category. I don't think there's a single Mon better in the Unreliable category, but it'd be pretty rough to call Arcanine reliable because he's a stoner. So if he gets some moves going, he's unstoppable. But more often than not, the odds of getting a good moveset, you know, out of the gate and everything else, like... But yeah, there's no better Unreliable Mon than Arcanine. Like, the BST is phenomenal. Poliwhirl. I would put Poliwhirl in the Unreliable category. I don't think he's down in the generally bad category. This Mon is runnable, even if you don't use a stone on it. And it turns into really good stuff, and it has 2 chances to evolve. It can evolve from a stone or a level in Gen 3 Kaizo. So I actually think Poliwhirl is not terrible. It's water typing, it turns into good water types. I think it can go right at the bottom of Unreliable, but I think Poliwhirl stands above the generally bads. I think Poliwhirl has potential. Poliwrath, on the other hand, stoner, water fighting. He's weak to psychic, electric, grass, flying. Man. For the Revo, you want to do that Poliwhirl, Politoed. So you can see there, Milo, Gary, Blastoise, Feraligatr, Lapras, Walrein. It turns into good stuff. I think Poliwrath is really bad. Move learns Metis. I think that's what it was. We can shimmy stuff around in a minute. Poliwrath's 500 BST. He does learn 2 moves. His typing really sucks. I'm almost inclined to put Poliwrath in generally bad. This is a tough one. It has such bad weaknesses. What do you guys reckon about Poliwrath? I mean, it's very similar to Primeape. Like, there's no experience because no one tries. You're still mad about Charizard. Polyref run one Kaizo. Yeah, I mean, like, it has, you know, anything can win Kaizo, like, theoretically. But we're talking about how reliable is it? It's in the unreliable category. The question is where. It is 500 BST. It gets stab on water and fighting. It probably goes somewhere around here. Somewhere with the stoners. Maybe there? For me, the weaknesses really put it in a bad spot. It is a good BST, though. We'll come back to that one, maybe. Kadabra, Machoke, pretty much of a muchness. Generally bad. Very, very hard to evolve. Blastoise is the only S tier right now. There's plenty of S's coming up. We just haven't got to them yet. Kadabra and Machoke are just so damn hard to make work. Isn't it level 37 to evolve them? I think these guys go really low in like the generally bad category. You could evolve them. They do function like as runnable mons. But you know, you're just not going to try most of the time. Anything in the generally bad category, like you're just going to pivot off of if you can. I think the general structure of the tier list is anything in the unreliable and above category you would pivot to if you were forced to. Anything in the generally bad or below category, unless you had a stone lined up, you just wouldn't bother. We're gonna go with what Meta said. We're gonna slam Dugtrio down to here. In my head, Dugtrio was 440. I didn't realize it was 405. So he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. Alakazam. The Spoons is pretty good. The Spoons is 490 BST. Psychic typing, offensively and defensively, is okay. He does learn 2 moves pre-Brock. I think one of the things that lets down Alakazam is if he doesn't have a really good moveset when you pick him up, you have to get all the way to 16 to even get a move learn. But I would say he's reliable. I put Alakazam probably here. It's pretty damn reliable. But he doesn't get that many move learns. I think I like him there for now. Machamp. Machamp is the highest BST fighter you can get in Gen 3 Kaizo. Let's have a look at his move learns. 3 moves pre-Brock and 3 moves throughout like Mount Moon is pretty good. 505 BST. I think offensively, like fighting is really fantastic. I think I agree. Machamp is A tier. Like Machamp is a very, very good typing. Being weak to flying and psychic is a little bit iffy. But offensively, fighting is criminally good. If you can pick up a stab fighting move on Machamp, you are going to just absolutely spank. You put in between Venusaur and Charizard. I think Venusaur's weaknesses place it down below for me. Venusaur's weak to Psychic, Ice, Fire, and Flying. That's 4 terrible, terrible weaknesses. I mean, Venusaur's immune to Poison and Leech Seed, so that's a pretty big deal, though. We'll leave Machamp there for now. We can always move him if we feel the need, but I think he's fine there for now. Weepinbell is like a worse version of Gloom. Gloom has 2 Evo options. Weepinbell gets 1. Victory Bell is essentially Vileplume. There's not much between them. I don't know which one's I don't know which one's higher base tier if they're the same. Victory Bell is, yeah, they're the same. They are basically the same mon, like for all intents and purposes. So I'm going to put Victory Bell above Vileplume because Victory Bell looks cooler. So that's the only reason. You could theoretically evolve a Tentacool, but I'm going to put it in the almost impossible category. I think it goes all the way down here. I don't think Tentacool is trash. I think Tentacool, unlike a lot of this stuff, could theoretically be evolved. Like, Tentacool has a pretty reasonable typing to try and get past Brock. I think he's fine there. Tentacruel S tier, I think it is. Like, Tentacruel is poison water, which is a really, you know, you're immune to poison, you have pretty good defenses. Offensively, having water stab is really, really solid. Tentacruel gets a lot of moves. Like, even if you just look at it in terms of winning, like Tentacruel has won a fair few times. He gets, if he's out of the lab, he gets 3 move learns pre-Brock, otherwise he gets 2. The only thing is he learns moves quite slowly. That'd be my only real complaint. He's definitely better than Machamp. Absolutely. The only thing is those move learns are pretty slow. We'll come back to him. I think I like him there for now. Graveler is trash. Golem is trash. Unfortunately, Golem and Graveler are 4 times weak to water and 4 times weak to grass. Even if you got Water Absorb, like, you're still 4 times weak to grass. You just can't run those mons. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Ponyta. Ponyta is like 400 and something BST. Ponyta's like pretty runnable. The main issue of Ponyta is it evolves at like 44 or something. Evolves really late. So it's definitely unreliable. You can get a run to the point where you can evolve on the Ponyta. You absolutely can. But then, you know, yes, the things it evolves into are typically good. They're in like the 480 and above category, but you're banking on getting good stats. You could Diglett Cave pivot. I think this is probably it's in here. It's probably at the bottom of the unreliable category. Like it's runnable. It's not generally bad. It's runnable, but the chances to make Ponyta work are slim. Rapidash, on the other hand, is pretty damn good. Rapidash is a 500 BST mon. Rapidash gets 3 move learns pre-Brock. It gets pretty consistent move learns up until 31, then they slow down. Its typing is good. It's immune to burn. I'd be inclined to put Rapidash here, above Machamp, but below Tentacruel. It's a very good mon. You can't go wrong with a Rapidash. Slowpoke can join this sort of pool here, where it's almost impossible, but you can evolve it with a stone. So I think, because of the stuff it turns into, I'm going to put it below the 2 fire guys there. Slowbro, 5 weaknesses. Generally bad. Well, I don't know. It's either the height of generally bad or it's unreliable. Slowbro and Slowking have 5 weaknesses. Let's have a look at move learns. It only gets 2 moves pre-Brock if it's a pivot. It's 490 BST. It gets good stabs, is the only thing. It gets really good stabs. And in Kaizo, you're trying to go for setup, but then you have more weaknesses. I would put it here, I think. I would say the high end of Slowbro is better than Venomoth. It's unreliable because you have so many exposures, but those stabs are really, really good. So I think having it here is a good spot. Magneton, almost impossible. What makes Blastoise so good? Water Stab is really good. Blastoise is a really high BST. He learns a bunch of moves. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 move learns potentially, or you get 4 move learns pre-Brock. You get 6 move learns before the end of Mount Moon. Water typing is really good offensively and defensively. You only have 2 weaknesses, which is grass and electric, and if you get a decent special defense, you're covered. I think water, just mono water is just very good in Ironmon, just straight up. Magneton is almost impossible. He's the peak of almost impossible, but being 4 times weak to ground whilst being weak to fire, unless you get levitate, but we're not tiering based on the peak possibility. So it's almost impossible unless you pull, the god tier abilities. Farfetch'd, same deal. Farfetch'd is almost impossible, I would say. Farfetch'd is a very low BST. It's just such a low BST. Like, Farfetch'd would require, huge power or something. I think Farfetch'd belongs with these two. Butterfree and Beedrill. Just not a lot of hope. You could theoretically Evo a Doduo. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. It gets 3 moves for Brock. It's 310 BST. It's a good typing. It's in the... This is either the absolute bottom of generally bad. It's probably almost impossible. You just wouldn't do it. A lot of this tier list is based around, would you want to run it? Anything in generally bad or below, you typically steer away from. Anything in unreliable or above, you would take. But you would always skew towards taking anything in B or above. Dodrio fits in nicely with Fearow, I would say. You just typically wouldn't choose this if you could help it. Let's see how many moves Dodrio gets. Very few. Gets 2 for Brock. Very few in total. It's 460. So in terms of BST, it's probably better than Fearow. You can win with Dodrio. You absolutely can. It's just not easy to do so. Seal. Seal's pretty damn hard to evolve. I think we'll just slap him at the bottom of we'll put him here. Seal's got some pretty nasty weaknesses. He evolves late. Pretty rough. Dugong has offensively a really good typing here. Water and Ice Stab is criminally good. Dugong gets 2 move learns pre-Brock. He gets 4 move learns before the end of Mount Moon. He does slow down. He doesn't get his last move until Koga territory. I think Dugong is probably below Alakazam. You can make a Dugong work fairly reliably. But I think Alakazam's a little bit more consistent. Alakazam's a higher BST. Alakazam has fewer weaknesses. So I think Dugong fits in nicely there. Shelder, if you Waterstone a Shelder, all these things fit in the same sort of category. Shelder turns into some really good stuff though. I'd actually put Shelder all the way up here because Shelder evolves into really good stuff because Cloister is such a high BST mon. What BST is Dugong? 475. So it's higher than Pidgeot and it's lower than Alakazam, so also fits in BST-wise in that order. Grimer is in the almost impossible category. You could evolve a Grimer. You absolutely could, but it would be very difficult to do so. It evolves quite late. This is for Kaizo, so there is no Sevi eligibility in this case. Muck. Muck is good. Muck is 500 BST. Muck is immune to poison. Muck learns 3 moves for Brock. He gets all but his last move fairly early. I would put Muck maybe above Rapidash. I think Muck is really good. I think Tentacruel has that water like offense backing him up, but Muck is a very, very good mon. You would run a Muck if you saw one pretty reliably. As far as stoners go, Cloister's pretty good. Cloister has the same offensive typing as Dugong. Cloister's a really high BST. I would put Cloister right here, just below Arcanine. It's very unreliable. Like, you're not going to be able to run one all that often. And Arcanine has that BST edge to, like, really bulk it out. But Cloister's very, very, very strong in terms of typing. It's just that lack of moves. Haunter's an interesting one. You can Evo a Haunter. You just can. Like, it's a good typing to try and Evo off of. It gets some immunities. It resists a lot of stuff. I think Haunter can go in the generally bad category, but I put Haunter all the way up here. I think if you're going to go for an Evo, like an actual leveling Evo, like Haunter has a decent shot. Gengar, thanks for that follow. I appreciate it. Gengar's very popular. People stand Gengar like pretty heavily. Let's see, 2-3 moves pre-Brock. You get a lot of move learns. I don't know if it's S tier. You are weak to Dark, Ghost, Ground, and Psychic. Psychic's bad to be weak to. Ground is pretty bad to be weak to. Dark and Ghost, like, you can handle that, but that's still pretty bad. It's immune to fighting and normal. I don't think I can justify. What's up, Hoop? I don't think I can justify making this S tier. I just don't think, like, S tier is reserved for things that are like breaking the game good. I'm almost personally inclined to put Gengar below Muck. Although it learns more moves. It does learn more moves than Muck. I think Tentacruel's better than Gengar. Gengar does get a lot of moves. I think he's good there. Onyx, trash. Drowsy. Who's going to evolve a Drowsy? Trash. Hypno. Hypno is not bad. You can win with a Hypno. Hypno learns a lot of moves early. If you catch one at 6, like, you're getting 3 moves pre-Brock. You're getting moved during Brock. It's psychic typing. It's not much worse than Alakazam. I would just say Hypno's literally here. He's just a slightly worse version of Spoons. Very, very slightly worse. Kingler. I really like Kingler. Again, it's got that water typing, which is really nice in Kaizo. It has really few move learns, though, and they're really slow. It's definitely reliable, but it's on the low end. I think Kingler probably fits in here. I think Dugong's got that ice typing for offensive edge. Kingler just doesn't get enough moves to be as consistent as Dugong. But you'd run a Kingler. Electrode. Electrode's pretty good. How many moves does Electrode get, though? Thank you for that follow. I appreciate it. Bulls indeed. A pretty slow move learns. Electric typing is okay. It's 480 BST. It's definitely in the reliable category. I think we can put him right above Pidgeot. Electric typing is okay. Like, offensively, it's pretty nice if you get stab, but he doesn't get a lot of moves and he gets them slowly. Execute can go with its compadres. You have to get a stone to evolve it, so it can go... And it turns into worse stuff than the other stoners. Executor is bad. It just is. It has so many weaknesses. I think this goes at the very, very bottom of generally bad. I'm not going to say it's impossible to win with one. It's Kaizo. Like, if you get set up or something, like, you can win. But yeah, 7 weaknesses, a 4 times weakness. Executors are really rough typing. I don't know, if I've got Magneton in almost impossible, like, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. I'm going to put it here because you would just never take it. Like, you would never take Executor if you could help it. You just don't want to have it. Remember, anything in generally bad or below, you typically don't want to take. Things in this category, you would take them at a push. Things here and below, you just don't want. Anything in F or trash, you just would never take. Marowak's pretty dicey. Marowak probably belongs in a similar sort of position to Sandslash. You could win with the Marowak. The difference between almost impossible and trash is that these guys literally, like, you would waste your time taking them. You would never stand a chance. So, like, Golem and Onyx, because of their weaknesses. Almost impossible. Like, these things have some small level of potential. If you get huge power, you could run Farfetch'd, Beedrill, or Butterfree. If you get a stone, you can evolve some of these things. Magneton and Executor, if you high roll an ability, like, their BST is good enough. So, things like that. Marowak, 4-5, learns good amount of moves pre-Brock. It's definitely better than Dugtrio. Dugtrio is here in generally bad. I mean, you would never run a Marowak if you could help it. I think Marowak can go in unreliable. I think I'd always take a Ponyta over a Marowak. I think it can go at the very bottom of unreliable. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Where do we put Primeape? Primeape is... Am I blind? Where's Primeape? Ah, here he is. Primeape's an unreliable. Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Primeape are all much of a muchness. Let's see. Lee does get quite a lot of moves early. I think Lee is better than Primeape. And then, how does Chan get moves? Chan is worse than Lee. Chan is actually worse than Primeape in terms of move learns. So we'll do them like that. They're all fighting. Fighting offensively is pretty solid. Lickitung. Lickitung belongs next to Farfetch'd. I'm going to put it here because it's probably better weakness-wise. Yeah, I'm mostly thinking, like, can you get to that triple move learn? A lot of how I'm rating this is you know, pre-Brock moves and stuff. Since Brock is such a hurdle. Coughing. Coughing is not impossible to do an Evo run on. He fits with Grimer. Like if they're in the bottom of F tier, we're not going to quibble about where they go. Hendroid, thank you for the 3rd month, dude. I really do appreciate it. Wheezing. I like Wheezing a lot. Wheezing's 490 BST, and he gets his first move at 9. So that means you can catch a level 8 Wheezing without suffering. You're immune to poison. You get 2 moves pre-brock. You get 4 moves before you leave Mount Moon. I think Wheezing goes in the very good category at the bottom. I think Wheezing is very good. You can easily win with a Wheezing if you get the right moveset. Oh no, it's not S. Like no shot. In terms of weaknesses, like remember Venusaur's where it's at because of its weaknesses. Wheezing doesn't have quite as many negative weaknesses. Rhyhorn and Rhydon, trash. Same problem as before. 4 times weak to grass, 4 times weak to water. Chansey. Music's bugging. Thank you. I prepared for such an occasion. Chansey. Ooh. Chansey's going to go right up here somewhere in the top of C. It's better than Golbat. I would say Chansey might want to go here. You could run Chansey to the point where it evolves through Mount Moon. Above Arcanine, probably. Like Chansey turns into good stuff. Normal typing's very good. Chansey really is good. Again, like we're basically structuring this where you would like if you saw these guys, you would take them over a Chansey because the Chansey's unreliable. You would always like I'm trying to structure it basically so everything up here you would take for its consistency above the unreliable category, but the unreliable category are things you could run if you had to, and then everything in generally bad or below you would steer away from. If given the choice. Tangela, grass typing, low BST, almost impossible. I put Tangela down here somewhere, it sucks. Electrode over Chansey, I would. I would 100% take Electrode over Chansey. Electrode is stab electric. It's consistently going to be, you know, the good BST and it learns moves. Like, Chansey's a risk. Electrode isn't. Yeah, for sure. I would, like, Electrode is reliable. Kanga is pretty damn good. Let's have a look. I misspelled that, but the bot will fix it. If you catch it at 6, it gets 3 moves pre-brock. She learns... Wow, she gets 5 moves before you finish Mount Moon. She's normal typing. She's 490 BST. Normal typing is good. Yeah, Kanga's considerably worse Snorlax. I would be inclined to put Kanga... I would be inclined to put Kanga probably above Venusaur. I think Kanga is like the height of just reliable. I think Wheezing edges it out because Wheezing's immune to poison. Kanga is just so solid, so reliably good. Horsey, no shot. Seadra. Yes, normal typing does get more value in survival. If I made a survival tier list, it would look very different because I would put so much priority on status immunity. So like in survival, Wheezing is S tier because it goes to Sevi and it can't be poisoned. Like in survival, Tentacle is S tier. So there's a lot of mons that are going to be in the A and the B tier that will be S tier in survival. This is unreliable, to say the least. It evolves late. This probably goes below Haunter for me. It evolves later than Haunter. It's so hard to make Seadra work. Like, if Seadra didn't evolve, Seadra would be C. Or maybe even B. It's just that fact that it's going to evolve so late. Kind of spoils it. Goldine's terrible. Salty evolved one in Emerald. He also evolved one in Fire Red, and it turned into the worst Milo I've ever seen. So, yeah, and that was he like finished the bow, and it turned into the worst Milo ever. Wasn't good. All right, Staryu can go down with Shelder. No, you can't go to Sevi in Kaizo, unfortunately. The only Ironmon you can go to Sevi in is normal Ironmon and survival Ironmon. Seeking. If we're excluding Seeking killing Aramaldo, it's not terrible. It's 450 BST. It learns 2 moves. It doesn't learn moves very quickly. Look at that, 69. Nice. It learns moves really really slowly. Seeking probably goes in C. It is the Seeking after all. Those move learns are just terrible. It's 450 BST and those move learns are slow. I would run a Chansey over a Seeking. I would run an Arcan. I would run a Seeking all the way down here. I would run all of this stuff more than I'd want to run a Seeking. Starmie. Starmie is pretty high in the unreliable category. 520 BST. Starmie is like Cloister. What's up, Napo? Ooh. Yeah, it's like Cloister. Starmie gets up here somewhere just because like it's unreliable, but if you high roll on a Starmie, it's sick. I would catch a Starmie like over a Dodrio just for like taking a shot. At a good moveset. So I think Starmie can go here. I think I'd take a Golbat over a Starmie, but that's half as many moves as Cloister. Yeah, we'll put Starmie there. Like, its typing is pretty solid if you can just cobble a moveset together. Actually, let's put it here. Let's put Starmie here because it's the same typing as Slowbro, and Slowbro learns moves. So even though Starmie's a much higher BST, it's basically a worse Slowbro for all intents and purposes. Mr. Mime learns, I think, the most moves in the game. 14, if I'm not mistaken. Mime, look at that. 8, 12, 15, 19, 19, 22. It's so many moves. Like, Mime is cool because you can always have a moveset. Mime, for me, goes 460. I think Mime goes here. Above Pidgeot. But Mime is reliable. Like, he's lower BST. He's not quite as solid as like Spoons and stuff. But you can get a moveset on Mime. Like, he learns so many moves. Scyther. I honestly think Scyther is trash. I think Scyther goes here in the almost impossible category. Like, Scyther's just so awful. When you evolve Scyther, it's almost always a downgrade. Like, you just don't want to run it. You just do not want to run Scyther. It downgrades when it evolves. Like, it's just bad. It's just really, really bad. Jinx sucks. Jinx has some of the worst weaknesses. She is 455 BST. She only gets 2 moves for Brock. No, you're not allowed to cancel Evos, so you have to commit on the Scyther, unfortunately. I think Jinx is generally bad. I think I would put Jinx here. I don't know if I could justify Jinx being C tier. I would never take Jinx if I could help it. Look at these weaknesses. Bug, Dark, Fire, Ghost, Rock, Steel. You would never take Jinx if you could help it, I don't think. Ooh, this is a nice pairing. Electabuzz and Magmar. Very good mons. Let's start with Electabuzz. Electabuzz is only going to learn 2 moves pre-Brock and 6 moves total. He's 490 BST. That's a very small amount of moves. I actually think I would put Electabuzz there, below Kangaskhan. Think Electrode over Buzz. I mean, Electrode gets more moves. We're trying to talk about like consistency here, so not high rolling, like just in terms of reliability, like how often would you want to run something? What was let me double check Electrode's BST. So Electrode gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 moves. So it gets 3 more moves, a trade-off of 10 BST. So yeah. I'd actually put Mime above Electabuzz, because Mime is so much more consistent to get moves on. That's a real shame. Magmar, 2 moves, 3 moves pre-Brock. Magmar's a lot better. Magmar's 495 BST, Fire's a great typing, Magmar's A. Magmar is high A. I would put Magmar maybe here, honestly. Magmar's pretty damn good. 3 moves pre-Brock, 8 moves total, Fire typing, 495 BST. He gets moved so much faster than Rapidash. I think Magmar is really, really solid. Oh, actually, looking at Rapidash again. Okay, let's do this then. I've personally not ran Magmar in Kaizo. I've ran it in Survival. Alright, Pinsir, 500 BST, Bug. It's not bad. Pinsir gets 3 moves pre-Brock. Pinsir's good. Pinsir's just good. Bug typing is honestly pretty solid in Kaizo. You can throw a decent moveset together on Pinsir. I would put Pinsir here, maybe? I think I'd take a Pinsir above a Golduck. Taurus. Taurus is good. Taurus learns 3 moves pre-Brock. It's normal typing. It's 490 BST. Taurus is basically Kangaskhan. These two are extremely similar. Yeah, we're just going to ignore legendaries. Like, technically you could run them if they were on your favorites, but I think running legendaries is pointless. I'm not interested in them. Gyarados, you can't justify putting Gyarados in the reliable category. I would put him in high. I personally rate Gyarados, even if he's unreliable. He's 540 BST, and you want to be sweeping in Kaizo. Man, it's so hard. 4 times weaknesses are so crippling. I I can't put Gary in B because B is for reliable mons, and Gary's not reliable. He's unreliable. But I like this is mostly would you take this if you saw it, and how likely are you to convert it to a win? You would take Gary every time you see it. You would take the risk. I think we'll put Gary all the way down there. Why isn't it Water Dragon? I know. I'm going to put Gary down there. Like, I would be so much more inclined to try running a Gary than these things. But these guys could be more consistently reliable than Gary. But yeah, remember anything in C or below you typically would like only take if you had to. Lapras, ooh, that is going right up here. My goodness, is Lapras good. Lapras gets 3 moves pre-Brock. It gets 9 moves in total. It's fantastically typed. It's 5/3/5 BST. Lapras goes above Blastoise. Lapras is fantastic. If you can run a Lapras, you should. It's so good. Fighting electric weakness, yeah. But 5/3/5 BST and water and ice stabs, I think you're just gonna try and absolutely crank on the Lapras. Like, you are just gonna try and blitz everything. I think Lapras is insanely good. You think Blastoise over Lapras? I mean, I guess in terms of weaknesses, maybe we'll come back to that one. It's definitely S tier, like no matter what. But we'll quibble about the exact placements. Ditto, trash. Eevee, almost impossible. Eevee can go up here because it has so many stones. In fact, Eevee can go in here because it has so many stones. That's fine. Okay, Vaporeon is really good. Vaporeon is probably A tier. Vaporeon learns fewer moves than Blastoise. Vaporeon only gets 8 moves and it learns them really slowly. I would probably say Vaporeon fits in there. Jolteon. Jolteon's significantly better than the other electric mons we've put on the list so far. Jolteon is... Ooh, Jolteon's really good. Jolteon's one of the best electric mons you can run, if not the best. 5/2/5 BST, learns 8 moves, gets 2 moves pre-Brock. I think Jolteon is insanely good. I honestly rate Jolteon insanely highly. You put Vaporeon over Lapras. If you want to do it that way, it would look like this, I think. Moonstone Eevee can turn into Tyranitar. That's a bad thing. Tyranitar sucks. I will try like this for now. Flareon is better than Rapidash. Ooh, Flareon. Flareon could probably go there. I mean, all the Eeveelutions get 8 moves. They're all very high BST. They're all monotype, so they have good defenses for the most part. We'll try like that for now. Porygon is generally bad. You could technically evolve it, but you wouldn't want to. Omanyte, trash. Omastar, trash. These are all trash because they're all 4 times weak to grass, amongst other things. They're weak to electric too. Well, actually, to be fair, Kabutops has won multiple times, so Kabutops can go here in generally bad. I'm going to do it like that. Kabutops has won. Aerodactyl is... People love Aerodactyl, but he's very hard to make work. He has really bad weaknesses. He does learn moves, which I think places him above Cloister. Aerodactyl's pretty rough. Like, 5+ weaknesses. He's a good BST, though, and he gets pretty good stabs, so we'll try him there. Snorlax. Right up here, my man. Snorlax is probably here. Snorlax is one of the best. He learns a ton of moves. He's huge BST. He's a fantastic typing. Like, Snorlax is a contender for one of the best in the game. Snorlax is... just take Snorlax. If you ever get the chance, just take him. Just take him. Dratini down here, Dragonair, despite people always asking me to Evo it, is going in the generally bad category. Dragonite's banned, Mewtwo is banned, Mew is banned. This is trash. Alright, there's fewer Johto mons, so we can cheese through these ones a little bit faster. Again, like I'm gonna speed things along a little bit here. So basically, if you would definitely run it, it's in B or above. If you would run it, if you had to, it's here. And then like Stoners and stuff all go in the these categories down here. Kern and S. Bayleaf can go next to Ivysaur. It's actually slightly worse because Ivysaur has slightly better typing. Meg. Meg is worse than Venusaur. Straight up. Meg gets 3 moves pre-Brock. It gets 8 moves in total, and it's 525 BST. Meg is here for me. I would take Pinsir over Meg personally, but I would take Meg over these guys. The BST speaks for itself. Like, Meganium's reliably good. Quilava goes next to Charmeleon. Typhlosion has a major problem, which is how few moves he learns. He gets 2 moves pre-Brock, 6 moves total, 534 BST though. Fire typing's good. Typhlosion is very good. He straight up is, but I think he goes to the bottom very good because he gets so few move learns. But he's a very, very solid BST in typing. But yeah, he gets so few move learns. Totodile. Croconaw goes next to Wartortle. Alright, for Alligator, very similar situation here. Very few moves. Oh. Didn't put Mon. 2, 4, 6, 7. He gets 7 moves. He gets 2 moves pre-Brock. 4 moves before the end of Mount Moon. He's definitely better than Typhlosion. He's nowhere near as good as the things in S tier. I would put him here, personally. I would put him just below Tentacruel. He's extremely good, but I think Tentacruel is reliably better. Its typing's good. It's got the increased stab chance on poison. And for Alligator, it only learns, a few moves. Yeah, I originally had Vaporeon down here, and people didn't like that, but yeah, I just think that Vaporeon just doesn't measure up to Jolteon. Alright, Sentret, trash, Furret. Furret's generally bad. Hoot, trash, of course. Noctowl is... Noctowl's not that bad. Noctowl isn't that bad. Like, it's 440 something BST. It's the same typings as Pidgeot. I think Noctowl can just slot in here on the other side of Fearow. Lediba, trash. Ledian, trash. Ledian's 4 times weak to ice. Spinarak, trash. Ariados is almost impossible. I can definitely see Ariados winning, but it's not likely to happen. You would never run it. All right, Crobat, easy S tier. Easy S tier. Crobat probably goes right up here. Crobat is fantastic. Its only real problem is its weaknesses. Crobat has some really dicey weaknesses. But it learns 3 moves pre-Brock. It learns 5 moves before the end of Mount Moon. It's immune to ground, immune to poison. It has a really good stab on flying and poison. Crobat's wonderful. It just is. Chinchou is trash. Lantern, I'm going to put in the reliable category at the bottom. Lantern has a really, really good stab combo. If you can get a water and electric move, I've taken a Lantern to Blaine. I would put Lantern here actually. I think Lantern is really damn solid. Lantern needs to be ran more. If I see a Lantern, I'm generally going to catch it. Pichu, all of these guys are trash, of course, all little babies. Togetic is trash. You'd never run Togetic. It's low BST. It's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Natu's trash. All right, Zartu's pretty good. Zartu's B. It is Psychic. It's flying. I feel like Zartu learns moves slowly, though. Zartu only gets 6 moves, and it only gets 2 moves for Brock. So Zartu belongs there at the very bottom of B. It's pretty reliable. Like, you can make a good Zartu, but it's definitely worse off than most of the other stuff in there. How is Togetic worse than Doduo? Doduo evolves, so there's potential. This thing is trash. This thing will never go anywhere. I mean, if you want, I'll move it to here. Let's move it to there. There, actually. It's just terrible. Like, it's such a bad typing. It's really bad. All right, Mareep, as much as I love you, you're trash. Flaffy can go in the generally bad category. Evolving a Flaffy is going to be pretty rough to do, but it's better than Pidgeotto. Amphi, this one goes in the high A tier. Below Electrode? Let's check this thing. Fewer moves. It's 500 BST. 6 moves. That is true. Man, that feels really bad. It is Kaizo, though, in Survival. I'm so used to playing Survival where you can learn TMs. Man, that sucks. I love Ampharos. Yeah, no, I agree. 20 BST, like, the move learns on Electrode are putting it above. We're going for, like, consistency here. We're going for, like, reliability. Blossom is really quite bad. Blossom probably goes down here. You just don't want to run Blossom. It's a stoner. In fact, Blossom probably goes all the way down here. Like, Blossom is very, very rough. Low BST-ish. Grass typing, stoner. It's not good. Marill, trash. Azumarill is generally bad, but I would put it above Seadra. You could get a run going with Azumarill. But it's only like 420 BST. Actually, Azumarill's better than Jinx. I guess Azumarill can go here. It's better than that. I think Azumarill goes there. It's better than Marowak. But Azumarill's pretty rough. Sudowoodo. Army's about to get mad. Sudowoodo is... Sudowoodo's like there. It's just such a low BST mon. It's a bad typing. Like, ugh. Sudowoodo's just not gonna cut it. Politoed, as far as stoners go, it's trash. I guess it doesn't even like get to evolve. Let's put it there. If I put it in trash, oh, he's gonna get mad. Politoed is honestly, it's unreliable, but for me it goes here. Politoed's a good BST. It's water typing. I think it goes above Seeking. I'd always try Politoed over Seeking. I think Politoed is just edging out Seeking in terms of raw stats. Hoppip, trash. Skiploom, trash. Jumpluff, trash. Being 4 times weak to ice and then everything else that's wrong with Jumpluff, just don't run it. Never run Jumpluff. Never run Jumpluff. Apom goes with Lickitung. Maybe if you got huge power. Sunkern is trash. Sunflora is... I mean, Sunflora is trash. Unfortunately. Sunflora... Like, just ignore the ordering on the trash category. These are all just awful. Yanma... You just wouldn't run a Yanma. Like... Yanma's trash. Like, it just sucks. Quagsire is the same typing as Swampert, which is better. It's water ground. This goes in generally bad for me. It's better than Kabutops. I would be inclined to put Quagsire probably here. Swampert's going to go a hell of a lot higher. But Quagsire at least is immune to electric, despite, you know, it's got its 4 times weakness to grass, but... we're not doing all 4 gens, we're doing all 3 gens. Espeon, as far as the Eeveelutions go, is the best one. No contest. Espeon is one of the highest BST Psychic Mons that you can run. It is 525 Illins, 8 moves. I mean, Espeon probably goes above Blastoise. Espeon, like, the high end on Espeon is peak. It's really good. Umbreon goes a bit lower. I think for me, Umbreon goes in this sort of spot. Dark typing just isn't as good. Offensively, Dark is pretty... There's so few Dark moves. Getting stab on Dark is really hard. Psychic Immunity is nice, but being weak to fighting is really, really bad. I think it's arguably... is it better or worse than Gengar? It's somewhere around here. It's somewhere around there. You'd run Gengar over it? Yeah, I can't decide. It's somewhere in this category. It's BST gives it some value. But yeah, I hate being weak to fighting. Alright, Murkrow, as much as I love you, you are going in the trash tier, I think, or like the almost impossible tier. All of these things can like evolve or achieve something. Man, Murkrow's so rough. Poor Murkrow. Slowking goes with Slowbro. Where's Slowbro? There he is. In the normal games, they have a different defensive line. That's what differentiates them. But in Ironmon, they're basically the same thing. Butterfree with huge power could achieve something. I think Sudowoodo, even with huge power, cannot achieve anything. If I'm honest. Sudowoodo with huge power still gets absolutely minced by water, fighting, and grass. Let's be honest. Like, if I was desperate, we can't be friends anymore. If I was desperate, I'd catch a Butterfree. I don't think I'd ever catch a Pseudo. Misdreavus. Misdreavus is Ghost type. Mono Ghost is pretty good. Let me check Misdreavus's BST. I think it's kind of low. Three moves pre-brock, 435 BST. It probably has to go in the unreliable category. You'd have to get a hell of a good spread to make this work. Yeah, to me, I think Misdreavus goes somewhere in here. Its immunities are nice. It's pretty hard to make it work. Yeah, no Mismagius. Unknown is terrible. Unknown is is extremely low BST. I think Unknown is trash. Wobbuffet is generally bad. In fact, Wobbuffet's almost impossible. Wobbuffet doesn't learn any moves, and its BST is bad. Like, Wobbuffet's just not good. Girafarig. Giraffarig's pretty good. Girafarig has stab on normal and psychic. It learns 3 moves pre-brock. It's 455 BST. I would run a Girafarig. I'd say Girafarig goes in reliable. I would say Girafarig can go here. I think Resto's moving house at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Pineco, trash. Fortress, generally bad. Fortress is, you know, almost always going to be bad. I think Fortress can go here. Dunsparce, as much as I love it, is trash. Like, you're just never going to run the Dunsparce. You just won't. I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with what I put in the trash category. Like, anything that goes in there, you're just not going to run. Like, no one would run them, given a choice. Gligar. Gligar makes me sad. I wish Gligar was better. I'm going to put Gligar at the top of almost impossible. It's 4 times weak to ice, but you could conceptually win with a Gligar. Now, Steelix is an interesting one. Steelix is technically unreliable, which is a shame. But he has such a fantastic typing. I have to put him here. Like, I can't put him in the reliable category because he's not. Like, you're trying to high end. And if we put him in here, like, he'd have to be at the bottom of reliable. Like, he's such a high BST. He has so many immunities and resistances. It's mostly the weaknesses he does have are really devastating. I can't put him above something like Xatu because like Steelix just has so many weak areas without getting a good ability. I'll come back to that one. I was thinking I would struggle with Steelix. He's a tough one. We will do it a bit more. Gramble. Gramble is 450. It's normal typing. 3 moves pre-brock. Gramble goes very low in B tier. You would run one if you had to, but you definitely wouldn't take him if there was choices. Quillfish is unreliable. Quillfish for me goes down here-ish. Quillfish is just such a low BST. It's like Tentacruel Jr., but its BST is so much lower. You could technically run a Quillfish, but you'd be hard pressed to make it work. Scissor is unreliable. You would catch a Scissor though. Like Scissor and Steelix are tough ones. You would just catch them. There's a Scissor that's got a chance to win Kaizo right now. Steven's one that has doesn't even have Flash Fire. I think Scissor. I mean, Scissor can have Thick Fat or Flash Fire. Ohms, that's very generous of you. Thank you very much for the tip. I do appreciate it. I really do. It gets really tough here. But the thing is, Scissor's not unrunnable without Flash Fire. It's the same problem with Gyarados. It's the same problem with Gyarados. I've put Gyarados here. This is really tough. If we stick to the nature of the tier list, that it's reliability. Drizzle, that's true. I guess Scissor has to go here then. Yeah, big Spadef, Rain, Flash Fire, Thick Fat. So there's options. But if we're going purely off of reliability, then yeah, Scissor can go up there. Like, I would always catch a Scissor, but yeah, it's not bound to be good. Shuckle only gets I think 5 moves, which is really bad for Kaizo, but his typing is really good. I think Shuckle goes in the high B. S tier. Yeah, Shuckle's above Charizard for me. Like, Shuckle's typing is pretty damn good. I think I put Shuckle there. Venusaur learns a lot more moves. Charizard has like some really bad weaknesses. I think we'll try Shuckle in B just there. Heracross, I'm sad to say, is generally bad. Not only is it 4 times weak to flying, but it's also weak to psychic and fire. Sneasel, trash. 4 times weak to fighting, can't run it. Teddy, trash. Ursaring. Ursaring's a big boy. Ursaring's 500 BST. Ursaring is definitely at least reliable. Let me have a look at Ursaring's learns. Uh, 2, 4, 6, 8 learns, 3 pre-Brock. So Ursaring's pretty good. Slugma, trash. Magcargo, trash, unfortunately. 4 times weak to water and no redeeming qualities. Swinub, trash. Piloswine, almost impossible. Piloswine just has way too many weaknesses, unfortunately. Corsola. Corsola's a bit like... I mean, Corsola's worse than Quillfish. Isn't Corsola 4 times weak to grass amongst all its other problems? So it's trash. Remoraid, trash. Octillery. Octillery is going in B for me. I would take an Octillery. It also, in this gen, in this specific gen, it gets double move. Oh, triple move. So Octillery gets triple move if you can beat Brock. or during Brock. If you can get to Brock and during the fight, you get triple move. It's 480 BST, it's water typing, it's triple move learn, which is huge. In total, it gets 8 moves. I think that puts it all the way up here. It's better than Golduck. Delibird, I'm sad to say, is probably in the trash category. Flying and Ice. It's so weak. You just can't run Delibird. Just can't do it. Mantine is like a significantly worse Gyarados. Mantine's generally bad, like all the way down here. Skarmory, ooh. Skarm is probably S tier for its typing alone. Yes, Skarmory's BST isn't the highest, but its typing is so good. You are only weak to fire and electric, which is manageable. If you can get Thick Fat Rain or Flash Fire, that's huge. If you get Volt Absorb. Skarmory's either the bottom of S or the peak of A. It's like 478 BST or something, so there is a bit of a gap between it and Flareon. Let's look at its BST and its move learns. Four, 6, 5, and okay, let's put it here then. Those move learns are not as good as I thought. 3 pre-Brock's good though. It's a very good mon though. Skarmory's fantastic. Houndour, you can evolve this. It evolves just after Brock if you can beat him. So I would put Houndour in the generally bad category. It's not impossible to evolve a Houndour. Under Tentacle, yeah, I guess in terms of like catchability, you would always take Tentacruel. Houndoom is reliable. Houndoom probably goes all the way up here, I think. It has a few problem weaknesses. Maybe it goes here, actually, just below Meg. 500 BST. It has 3 moves pre-Brock. Yeah. Maybe it goes above Meg, then. Maybe it goes here. Somewhere around there. Kingdra, best mon in the game. No contest. If you see Kingdra, you take Kingdra. It's so broken, it's not even funny. 1 weakness, not a bad weakness to have, Dragon. The only problem with Kingdra is it learns very few moves and it learns them slowly, but it's so busted that... It's so busted, you just take it anyway. You always take Kingdra. Just take it. Just take it. Phanpy, trash. Donny is actually pretty good. Like, as far as ground mons go, Donny goes in the B category. Donny gets some moves. He's 500 BST. He's not the worst. He only gets 6 moves, 2 pre-Brock, and then they're really slow after that. So he's definitely in the low end of the reliable category. I think even that BST doesn't carry him higher than Pidgeot for me. But Donphan's not bad. Porygon 2, that is going all the way up in the A category. Porygon 2 is probably up here. Fantastic mon. Normal typing, high BST. It's nowhere near Snorlax territory. but it's damn good. Gets 2 moves pre-brock, gets 2, 4, 6, 8 moves in total. It's really, really good. Porygon 2 is wonderful. Gen 2 just has so many good mons. Smeargle goes down next to Lickitung. He's all the way down here, actually. Smeargle's really pretty bad. In fact, Smeargle is so bad, he's probably going in the trash. Poor Smeargle. They did not do my my boy much justice. Stantler is like sort of mid-range 450 BST. It's normal typing. It gets some moves. Stantler's reliable. Stantler's basically like Granbull territory. Hitmon top. You still love Smeargle. Hitmon top. Hitmon top actually gets better move learns than Hitmonchan. So top goes just below Lee. Smoochum, trash. Elekid and Magby. I've never even tried to evolve these. I'm going to put them in almost impossible. They evolve at 30. They're not such low BST that it would be impossible. Man, they're not very good though. Milkers goes very, very high up. Milkers goes here, I think. Milkers gets moves. It's 490 BST. There's a pretty good shot of Elekid turning into Jolteon. So I think Elekid is Magikarp should be an S tier. I think I'll keep Elekid where he's at. Milkers is just fantastic. All 4 of these normal types are just also very, very like reliable. They'll never set the world on fire, but they're very, very good. Level 30 of an Elekid. Alright, fine, I'll put them in trash. I've never tried evolving them. I've never seen anyone evolve them. All this stuff here is stuff like you wouldn't run it unless you could like evolve it or whatever. But or it got perfect ability. Blissey's not quite as good as Snorlax, but damn, it's close. Blissey's wonderful. Blissey is fantastic. Blissey gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 move learns, so slightly fewer than Snorlax. You get 4 move learns pre-Brock. So yeah, Blissey's right below Snorlax. It's really, really good. Snorlax and Blissey and Kingdra are just so damn good. Like, if you're going to have 3 favorites, you could go for much worse ones. Alright, banned legendary dogs. Larvitar is trash. Pupitar is trash. And Tyranitar is banned. These are all banned. Trico's trash. I'm just going to put Grovyle. I'm just putting the... these guys are so, like much of a muchness. Like Grovyle, Bayleaf, and Ivysaur are all, you know, basically the same. So I'm just putting them all with their friends. They're all generally bad, but there's cases where you could probably get away with evolving them. Marshtomp is trash though. Marshtomp is like almost impossible. Marshtomp unfortunately gets that ground weakness. It gets that 4 times weakness to grass, so that puts him way below Wartortle and Croconaw, unfortunately. All right, Hoenmons are generally, the starters are a lot better than the yeah, it is there. This is the longest one we'll make. These are better than their Johto counterparts because they learn so many more moves. I don't know what they were thinking with Johto, but they fixed it with Hoenn. Sceptile gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 moves. Potentially gets 3 moves pre-Brock. Sceptile's better than Meg. Sceptile gets more moves than Meg. It's a good BST. I think Sceptile goes right up here below Charizard. Sceptile's is a good, solid, reliable mon. Blaziken goes pretty high. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 moves. If you catch it at 6, it gets 2, 4, 5 moves, like potentially for Brock. It gets really crazy stabs. It has a few bad weaknesses, but you are just going to try and cruise. This goes above Flareon. Like, this is a great mon. Like, this is really, really good. I can't justify putting above Lapras, but Blaziken is choice. I would always catch Blaziken. Alright, Swampert, I am inclined to put in B, despite being 4 times weak to grass. Swampert has shown again and again and again he can get work done. If you get a high Spadef one, if you get a sweeping one, like Swampert can do work. I personally put the Swampy Boy all the way. I would always take a Swampert above everything up until Lantern. I think he fits in nicely there. I don't think we can put him in A, because like very good implies like he's gonna always do work. I think if you compare the reliability of Swampert to something like even like Electrode, even though Electrode's is a much lower BST mon, like Electrode gets moves, like it doesn't have those that crippling weakness. But only having one weakness is really, really, really nice. Swampert's one of the hardest ones. Just remember, for the sake of the tier list, everything in B or above you would take, like, if you had to. Like, you take these guys, if these guys weren't available, so like, we won't quibble too much about exact placement. Can I explain why Swampert's so much lower than Blaziken? 4 times weaknesses are just devastating. There's a lot of grass moves in the game. A lot of them hit pretty hard. And Swampert's 4 times weak. Blaziken gets like fantastic stabs. Blaziken learns a ton of moves. Like, it's just like, in terms of reliability, Blaziken is almost always going to get work done. Swampert, like, you know, I've almost won with a Swampert. Swampert's won multiple times, so Swampert totally can win. But unless you pull like color change or something, it's pretty rough to try and you know, make a Swampert really rock and roll. So I think he's good enough to be in the reliable category despite his 4 times weakness, unlike Scissor. But putting him any higher doesn't really make any sense, because, you know, that stray grass move just from a random gym leader or whatever can just kill you. Let me just put all this stuff in the trash. Zigzagoon, all the bugs here. Lotad, C-Dot. All this stuff is like clearly trash. Kalia, unfortunately, is trash because Kalia is like crazy low BST. Sursk is trash. Shroomish is trash. Slackoth is trash. Well, maybe we'll come back to Swampert. We'll take a quick glance at the end and see if there's anything we want to change. Mighty Anna. That's a pretty tough one. Like, Mighty Anna probably fits into the category around like Sandslash. Like, you're just never going to run one if you can help it. You're just not going to want to run that. Slacking's banned. Thank you. I'm going to put Shedinja in almost impossible. But I maintain to this day there is a 1 in a trillion chance that Shedinja can win. So just for memes, I'm going to put in almost impossible. Alright, Linoon belongs with Furret. Where did I put Furret? down there. That's fine. Beautifly. These, like, all these bugs go together. So these go with Butterfree and Beedrill. They're all in the almost impossible category unless you happen to pull, like, huge power or something. So, you just, it's just not going to happen. Let's be real. Shed better than Pseudo Wudo. Army's going to be after me. Alright, I'll put Shed in the trash. Let's see. Lombre. Water and grass typing. You can use a stone to evolve it. It can turn into some pretty good stuff. Lombre goes like with Gloom. It's worse than Gloom because Gloom gets more stone opportunities. I think Lombre goes here. Ludicolo. Pretty low on Unreliable. Like, Ludicolo just, it's a stoner, doesn't get any moves. It's not the best typing in the world. I think Ludicolo can go, like, with Poliwrath. I'm telling you, there's a 1 in a trillion chance for Shed to win. Nuzleaf. Nuzleaf is trash. I believe Nuzleaf has the... I mean, Shiftry's trash too, I think. Shiftry's almost impossible. Shiftry's not trash. Like, you could theoretically win with Shiftry, but its weaknesses are so bad. Like, Shiftry is worse than Executor. Poor Shiftry. He's so bad. Swellow goes with the other normal flyers in the 430 kind of range. It goes below Noctowl there. It depends on what combination of typings it is. So some dual typings create situations where you have fewer weaknesses. Some create situations where you have more. So... like, I'm trying to think of a good example. So, like, rock typing on its own has some really bad weaknesses, like fighting and stuff. But if you combine that with bug typing, like Shuckle and Armaldo, all of a sudden, like, you take away a lot of what makes rock so bad. Shuckle and Armaldo only have 3 weaknesses, as opposed to, like, rock being weak to, like, water, fighting, grass, ice, or whatever, steel, I'm not sure. But, it corrects some of the problems. So it just depends on the combination. Pelipper goes in almost impossible. The odds of dodging, like, Pelipper goes with Mantine. Like, it's generally bad, but if you got, like, crazy lucky, maybe you can get a run going. But, they suck. Alright, Gardevoir is really good. Gardevoir goes higher than Spoons, right? How many moves does she get? Two, 4, 6, 8, 9 learns, and you only get 2 learns pre-Brock, because, like, we don't really count 6 unless it comes out of the lab. 518 BST, it's better than Spoons. Spoons learns moves late at 16. To me, I mean, Gardevoir learns more moves than Typhlosion. Psychic typing's pretty good. I think Gardevoir can go next to Machamp. I think she's very, very reliable. She's very good. Masquerain. Masquerain's really bad. You're just not gonna make a Masquerain work. Breloom is down here in the almost impossible category. Breloom's 4 times weak to flying. It's weak to psychic. It's weak to fire. Breloom just doesn't get a good showing, unfortunately. Nincada is trash. All right, Vigoroth. Vigoroth is unreliable. I think Vigoroth goes above Golbat, maybe. Vigoroth turns into really good stuff, and Vigoroth is not that difficult to evolve compared to a lot of other stuff. He's like a pretty good BST, just all in his own. He's certainly unreliable, but like if you're gonna do like an actual like level based Evo, like Vigoroth isn't the worst option you could go for. Ninjask, Flying Bug. Well, Gary was a weird case. I guess Gary goes with Scissor. Like, I mean, Gary goes up here for me. Like, Gary's unreliable, but I'd always catch one. I'd always take a gamble on Gary, so I guess Gary can go there with Scissor. Always worth a gamble. Ninjask just has too many weaknesses. Ninjask is 4 times weak to rock, and it has 4 really bad weaknesses: ice, flying, fire, and electric. Like, I think, unfortunately, Ninjask probably is here. Like, you just can't use Ninjask. Loudred is kind of like Vigoroth. Like, you could theoretically evolve it, but it doesn't turn into as good as stuff. I think it goes right down the bottom of unreliable. Like, you could run a Loudred, you could evolve it, but because Exploud is such a low BST compared to Slacking, you won't get like absolutely insane mons when you evolve. Exploud itself, Exploud learns 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 11 moves. You get 2 moves pre-brock. He's 480 BST. I think he goes with his friends here. I think he fits in with the other normal bros. They're all pretty much of a muchness. He gets more moves, but he's the lowest BST of the bunch, and they all have about the same amount of chance to get past Brock. So we'll put him there. Where can we find this? Do you mean the tier list? Do you mean like the maker or the actual tier list? Because once I'm done, I'll put the tier list on our Discord. And I can give you a link to actually make your own one if you want as well. Alright, Nose Pass is trash. Let me get rid of the banned ones quickly, just so we know they're off the end. So all these legendaries that come in for Gen 3. So many legendaries for Gen 3. They really did go wild. Alright, Hairy Mama. Hairy Mama. It's not terrible. It's 474 BST. It gets 3 moves for Brock. It gets a lot of moves in total. I think this goes above like Lee and that lot. We've got Lee down in the unreliable category. I'm actually inclined to put this in the reliable category. I would take this above Standler. I think we'll correct it to that. I think I'd take a Hairy Mama fairly often. Kern in the trash. Where it belongs. Del Caddy goes in the almost impossible category, where if it gets huge power, maybe you would run it. Sableye, Sableye's a tough one. Sableye's really tough. Because like we're not basing this on it definitely getting huge power or something. We're basing it on general reliability, and in that case, it's only 380 BST. But having no weaknesses is just really solid. Sableye probably has to go at the top of generally bad. Like, there's a massive gap between Sableye and something like Delcatty, where huge power benefits them both. But Sableye, like, consistently shows up with its no weaknesses. Morewile's the same deal. If you can get a huge power, like, yeah, it's fine. But other than that, it's just not going to do any work. So it's in the almost impossible category. Aaron, trash. Leiron. Doesn't Leiron have really bad weaknesses? Yeah, trash. 4 times defying a ground, trash, in the trash. Aggron is... Aggron, I mean, Aggron's trash, let's be honest. Like, you could have Levitate and still get killed by low kick. I'd say Aggron goes in almost impossible. It's not impossible that you can win with him, but the odds of dodging every fighting and ground move throughout the entire run... I mean, like, if we're talking about, like, catchability, you would catch Aggron over Kabutops. Yeah, Aggron's a rough one. Like, Aggron just kind of sucks, I'm sorry to say. Meditite trash. Medicham is really bad. I've had the best Medicham I've ever seen, and it died in the woods. Medicham is I think Medicham's the trash. Medicham's such a low BST, unfortunately. Electrike is, you're never going to evolve an Electrike. Manetric's pretty good. Well, the only reason Kabutops isn't in the trash is because I know it's one. Manetric is reliable. The question is, how good is it? .475 BST, so close to Electrode. You get 4 moves for Brock. You get a lot of moves in total. It's actually pretty good. If you're looking, at like move learns, it's actually better than Ampharos. Yeah, if you're looking at like how frequently you're gonna learn moves, it's better than Amphi. Plusleminen. Ugh. It's like these two are generally bad. You could win with these. Like it is feasible. It is feasible to win with Plusleminen. But I would never recommend trying. Volby and Illumise. 400 BST. Pure bug typing. Again, it's not outside of the realm of possibility, so we're gonna put them down here. Anything in D or below, you generally just wouldn't take. Roselia is low BST and it's grass. Where's Tangela? So Roselia's down with Tangela. Gulpin, just don't evolve that. Swalot's an interesting one. Swalot gets triple move at like 30 something. Poison typing's good. 467 BST, triple move at 40, and potentially 3 moves pre-Brock. So Swalot goes in the very high end of reliable. Swalot probably slots in somewhere here with Octillery. Yeah, Plusleminen do have an uncanny ability to end runs. This tier list is based on we're not assuming you get the high end ability. We're assuming that you get like an average Kaizo moveset where you have like one good move or something. So I'm looking at how many move learns do you get pre-Brock to make it likely that you can win. How many moves do you get in total to make it a reliable mon throughout the run? How good is it if you don't high roll the ability? So something like, you know, the reason like Snorlax is right up here is like Snorlax learns like 12 moves. He's got great typing, a huge BST. He learns a bunch of moves pre-Brock. Whereas something like Aerodactyl is in the unreliable category. He's a high BST mon. He learns quite a few moves, but he has 5 weaknesses. So anything up here you would run given the option. If there's not, like, you obviously scale up in terms of priority, so you would always take these guys given the option. Unreliable is things that, you know, you would take it a push, so like you might want to try and high roll a Gary or like a Scissor or an Arcanine or something. Or you might want to try an Evo on Chansey or Vigoroth. Xatu on the reliable list, yeah. You can reliably get a pretty good Xatu. Like, I've taken Xatu past Koga a couple of times. Like, Xatu has good stabs. Like, it learns moves. It's not the worst mon in the world. You don't run Xatu because you see better stuff, and that's why it's like all the way down here. But you can make a Xatu work. Remember, like, these things here in Unreliable, I would personally take like a Gary or a Scissor above anything here that's like below Swampert. But I'm trying to make like a general consistency, like, tier list here, so that's why it's ended up the way it has. Kavana. Sharpedo's one of those mons that nobody runs. Sharpedo's just not had any runs. 3 moves pre-Brock. 9 moves in total. 460 BST. It's pretty good. Like, I don't know much about Sharpedo because nobody runs it. It's in the reliable category. The question is, how good is it? It's probably here, like just below Lantern. Lantern's a better typing. But that Sharpedo gets a lot of moves. I'd be inclined to try one if I get a chance. It's reliable. You can make Sharpedo work. Wailmer goes with Ponyta. Wailmer is a decent mon in its own right. It actually goes above Ponyta because Wailmer turns into some of the really big water mons. So it's unreliable, but if you can evolve a Wailmer, you can get some good stuff. No doubt about that. Alright, Wailord. One of the most popular mons in Ironmon. Wailord is 500 BST. He's water typing, which is fantastic. He gets 3 moves pre-Brock. He gets a ton of moves throughout the run. Wailord is really good. Wailord's right up here. I would put Wailord above Vaporeon because Wailord gets so many more moves. You can build a better moveset on Vaporeon. Oh no, sorry, Wailord than you can Vaporeon. Man, Hoenn mons just get so many more moves than the previous 2 gens. No, not counting the 5 move. You still get 10, 14, and 19 for Brock. And then you get the other bunch of moves after that pretty quickly too. Nummel is trash. Camerupt is basically trash. It's better than Magcargo. Camerupt probably belongs at the top of almost impossible. If you get Drought or Water Absorb, Camerupt's honestly not that bad. Maybe Camerupt belongs in generally bad. I would take Camerupt above everything in here up until probably Aggron. Camerupt has some potential. Some. Torkoal is good. Torkoal's a good mon. He learns a lot of moves. Torkoal learns 3 moves pre-brock, and he learns like 10 moves in total, and he's 470 BST, and he's fire typing. You guys reckon Camerupt over Aggron? You got it. I mean, I would take Camerupt over Quagsire. So we'll move him up 2 spaces. Music glitch, thank you. Been saving the Wii shop music for such an occasion. Appreciate it. Torkoal, guys. Torkoal, like 10 moves, bunch of moves pre-brock. What's up, House? 470 BST, fire typing. He's a good boy. I don't know if Torkoal can go in A, but I think he's really high in B. Would you guys take Torkoal over Swallow? Because I would. I think I would take Torkoal over Swallow if I was given the option. You would. Agent Avocado wouldn't. Swallow? They're so close in BST. You wouldn't. I think these two, like, it definitely goes below the normal bros, but these two are so close for me. The poison typing. Yeah, those two are so close. Thanks, Army. Fastest band figure in the West. Yeah, everyone knows that idiot in the Ironmon sphere. Just ignore them. All right, trash. Trash. Let me just trashify all the things you wouldn't bother evolving. There's just a few mons here that you just wouldn't mess with. Okay, we've got some pretty choice mons left. All right, Grumpig. Grumpig's good. .470 BST, 4 moves pre-brock. Grumpig's actually pretty damn good. Grumpig probably goes above Hypno, just for how many moves it gets. Let me have a look at Hypno again. Yeah, I put Grumpig above Hypno. Hypno's high BST, but Grumpig gets so many moves. You can make a Grumpig work. I still put Spoons higher, though. Spinder... Who the hell runs Spinder? Like, Spinder goes with Delcatty. Vibrava... You would never evolve a Vibrava. Never. Goes in the trash. Fly Spinder learns moves. Okay, let's put Delcatty all the way in the trash then. Delcatty can go. I'm only putting Delcatty like in this category because like with huge power it can do something. So let's put Delcatty like down there. Everything in like F and below is pretty negligible. Like the guys up here are like ones that can use stones to turn into something, you know, if you're lucky enough to get the stone. All right, Flygon. Pretty bad. Flygon's a great BST. It gets 2 moves for Brock. It gets quite a few moves, but it's 4 times weak to ice. Flygon's in the unreliable category. I would put it... I would catch it above Starmie. I think it's fine here. It gets some moves, so it's better than Starmie. But it's 4 times weak to ice, so... If you get like Thick Foul something, like maybe, or a really good Spadef. But yeah, Flygon's pretty rough. It is Kaizo, so you're trying to sweep. Below Quillfish. Where's Quillfish at? Yeah, I would try and run a Quillfish over a Flygon. Like, Quillfish, like, these guys are in the unreliable category. Like, Quillfish sucks, but if you high-end a Quillfish with setup, like, you can do something with it. We can always play around with some of the finer points at the end. Cacturn, almost impossible. Doesn't belong in the trash, but it's very, very low. Its weaknesses are awful. Altaria, 4 times weak to ice. Altaria is probably in the height of like generally bad. Altaria is generally bad. 4 times weak to ice. It has other problems. It learns moves pretty slowly. Like, Altaria is just like, you just don't want to take this mon if you can help it. I would take. You'd run it over Azumarill. Yeah, so would I. I wouldn't run it over the other stuff though. I'm gonna put Mightyena down a peg. I think Might goes below Ponyta. I think Mightyena goes all the way down here. Zangoose is okay. Zangoose is a step down from the other normal mons. 2/4 moves, 4/5/8. Zangoose isn't quite as good as the other normal mons, but he's in the Bs. Zangoose probably slots in somewhere around Mime territory. Like here. He doesn't get as many moves as Mime. Maybe here. He's a better typing. We'll do a little bit of tidying up at the end. There's some things to move, I'm sure. Seviper is reliable, but not great. Seviper's probably... I mean, Seviper's probably around Zangoose territory, honestly. Like, they are made to be a pairing. Thanks for that follow. Electabuzz over Zangoose. Maybe I'll categorize all the electrics together. It's a good typing. Seviper has the poison immunity. You don't like Octillery being above Venusaur? Venusaur's weaknesses, though. Venusaur has twice as many weaknesses as Octillery, and they're really bad ones. We're talking in the general sense here, like reliability. Like, Swampert's not reliable. He's cool. Yes, Viper belongs above Zangoose. Lunatone and Solrock go in the trash. They have 7 weaknesses. Unrunnable. Whiscash. Pretty similar to Quagsire. I mean, this is like the only 4 times weakness mon that isn't even in the unreliable category. Like, this should be an unreliable because it's got a 4 times weakness, but I think being 4 times weak to grass isn't as bad. So Charizard has one, but Charizard has a massive BST and great stabs. Like, Charizard is a sweeper in Kaizo. That's why I've rated Charizard up there. That's a good call, yeah. It says 2 then. Crawdon is like a worse version of Sharpedo. So Crawdon goes down here-ish. Crawdon's like a worse Sharpedo. Claydol's trash, let's be honest. Claydol with color change, I've seen go really, really far. Let's put Claydol in the almost impossible category. Why is Vaporeon only A tier? Vaporeon learns only 8 moves, and I would take Wailord, Tentacruel, and Porygon 2 above it. And then like S tier is reserved for things that like just pop off like almost every time. Vaporeon is good. Like you could literally shift like everything above Skarmory into S tier. We'll play around with it a little bit at the end. How is Flareon better? Flareon can't be burned. Flareon has fire stab. We'll play around with it in a minute. Right, Milo's easy. Milo is probably secondary only to Kingdra. Milo has the water typing and it learns an absolute ton of moves. It has 540 BST. Milo and Snorlax are fairly interchangeable for me, but I think Milo has a ton of wins. Like, Milo's so damn good. Milo is crazy good. Armaldo is going all the way up in A. 495 BST, only 3 weaknesses. It gets move learn. Same for that follow. I think more and more people are waking up to how good Armaldo is. How many moves does Armaldo learn? 3 for Brock and 9 in total. 495 BST. Is Sharpedo a worse Crawdon? I didn't mon for Crawdon. Yeah, my pleasure, Woodsy. Good to have you, dude. Good to have you. In terms of like move learns and typing, like I would put Armaldo maybe here. Yeah, I normally play survival. We have a few thousand seeds of that. Man, my personal bias makes me want to put Armaldo like way higher, but I think he's probably fine there. Cradilly. Doesn't Cradilly have some really annoying weaknesses? Bug fighting, ice and steel. Could be worse. Cradilly can go in the reliable category. Cradilly gets triple move, which is a big deal. Cradilly is fairly high BST. It has fewer weaknesses than the pure grass type. Fighting and ice weaknesses are pretty bad, though. I would put Cradilly here. I would take an electric mon over Cradilly. Cast form is down with the dregs, like Apom and Lickitung and stuff. Yeah, triple move at 60, so very, very late. Kecleon. Kecleon's pretty far below the other normal types. He gets 3 moves for Brock. He only gets 7 moves in total, and he's 440 BST. You could run a Kecleon, but you would run him below Gramble. Shuppet is trash. I'm sorry to say. Banette's not bad. Banette gets 3 moves for Brock. Gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 moves in total, and it's 455 BST. I mean, Banette's 1. Banette has 1 Kaizo, and it's not surprising. Immunities. Yeah, Might play around with where I put Burnett. I think Burnett's honestly maybe here. He wouldn't run Duskull. He wouldn't even try to evolve it, I don't think. Dusclops is pretty good. Ghost types in general, like, they don't have a really good high end. Like, they never go S tier. But they're just generally pretty good. Dusclops gets only 2 moves pre-Brock, and he's not much... He's basically, like, Burnett Light. Tropius... Tropius can go all the way down here with Cacturn and the Almost Impossible. It's got terrible, terrible weaknesses. Chimecho. Let's put Wynot in the trash. Chimecho. Yeah, Dust Noir is ludicrously good. Chimecho gets 3 moves for Brock. It's only 425 BST. I think Chime has to go in the unreliable category all the way down below Ninetales. If you high-end a Chime with like a psychic move or something, like, it might be worth running, but otherwise, man, you just wouldn't bother. Absol's okay. Absol is 465. It gets 3 moves pre-Brock. 9 moves in total. Absol's pretty good. Absol can go all the way here, I think. You take an Electric Mon over it. But I think it edges out these guys with its move learns and its BST. Glalie kind of sucks. Unfortunately, ice types just aren't good. Like, defensively, ice types really, really suffer. Being weak to fighting and fire, amongst other things. Like, ice typing offensively is like crazy good, but ice typing's just a letdown in terms of defense. You could evolve a Celio. I'm not saying you would, but you could. So Celio goes with Loud Red. Like, it's not impossible to do. Warrane's good. Warrane is 530 BST. It gets 3 moves pre-Brock, and it gets 9 moves in total. It's honestly not much worse than Lapras. Maybe like this. It is very good. Blaziken gets more moves though, and faster. Like, Blaziken gets a lot of moves very fast. Clamperl has only... Clamperl's weird in Gen 3. Clamperl has Waterstone and level 37 or something. So Clamperl's kind of strange. Or just put Clamperl down with the other. You could run a Clamperl far enough to probably evolve it. I'll put it down with Staryu. Thank you. Alright, last few mons. Let's see. Shelgon. We'll have to think about Shelgon after Salty's run, otherwise people get mad. Relicanth is pretty damn bad. Relicanth is like worse than Kabutops. I put Kabutops in D. I'm not saying you can't win with Relicanth, but you'd be very hard pressed to do so. It's worse than Marshtomp, because Marshtomp can evolve. I think Relicanth is honestly really damn bad. Probably down with Omastar. All right, Huntail and Gorbis. .485 BST, 2 moves pre-Brock, only 7 moves in total. So definitely in the reliable category. I'd say worse than Octillery. Probably, I mean, it's worse than Golduck. Probably here, thereabouts. Let's see if Gorbis is exactly the same. I don't know if they learn moves at the same rate. Yeah, they're exactly the same. Yeah, they're both reliable. They're both decent. I would take a Dugong, personally, for the offensive typing on ice over those two, though. Alright, last three mons. Love Disc, who the hell cares about that? Like, Love Disc sucks. It can't evolve, so it goes in the trash. Alright, Shelgon. God. Unless it's the world's fastest Shelgon, like Salty's one, Shelgon's not good. Like, trying to evolve Shelgon is almost impossible. Shelgon can go with Dragonair. Alright, Matang. Matang is actually not the worst thing in the world. Matang is 420 BST. It learns moves very late, is the thing. Matang is a cut above a lot of the Evo mons. It turns into some good stuff too. I think Matang probably belongs with these guys. There's a chance you would try and run one. This tier list is subjective. I mean, what do you want? Like... yeah. Yeah, it is. I'd have to compile, you know, data and... like, I mean, there's no objectivity in Ironmon because there's so much randomness. Like it's the same as the ability tier list. I'm trying to work around the absolute random factor. All right, the tier list is done. Let's just see if there's anything worth moving. S tier. Some people didn't like Flareon being an S tier, so we could downgrade Flareon to A. I wouldn't lose any sleep over that. I'm almost inclined to bump Flareon down to here. Honestly. And I'm not disinclined to put Porygon 2 up into S tier. Porygon 2 is fantastic. Is Flareon better than Vaporeon? That's debatable. Not being able to be burnt, they learn the same number of moves. Like, offensively, fire typing covers a lot of stuff. Like, it's like Eeveelutions, it's just down to the typing. I think you naturally see more Flareons. More Vaporeons being ran. I think I like S tier where it's at. Some people don't like where Lapras is. I personally think Ice Water is so damn good offensively. What's up, Army? You're going to run 50 Sudowoodos and I run 50 Butterfrees. If I refuse, I have to move Sudowoodo to F tier. So basically, you've got me over a barrel here. Where the hell is even Sudowoodo? There he is. I'm fine with that. Monomon. Nah, I think this will be fine. So, yes, there's subjectivity involved. Of course there is. It's a tier list. Based on my experience, and a lot of this is based on what would I catch. So, if I had to, I would catch anything in the C category or above and try and make it work. Everything below that, like, you would only catch if you had to, or if you had a stone. Everything down here is like you just can't win. There's just no chance. But yeah, like I would say take anything from Kecleon or above, and you can try and get a run going with that. Anything from Swampert or above, you can get a good run going with. Anything from probably Electabuzz and above, you can get a really good run going with. And anything probably like Spoons or above, like we're looking at really, really good stuff at that point. And anything in A tier, you can win with, you know, if you get a good moveset stuff, you'll win with it. Like, you've got really good mons in here. Well, thank you, everybody, for participating. So I will put the finished spreadsheet, the finished tier list on our Discord. If you want to make your own one, I can link to that too. Is Swalot that good? I really value poison typing for poison immunity. He gets triple move of 40 to try and pull together a good moveset. This is the subjectivity. You could put Swalot like below Meganium if you wanted to, but I personally, because grass typings have so many weaknesses, I would try and make Swalot, Torkoal, or Artillery work. Most people wouldn't put these three above Venusaur, and most people would put Charizard in A, but like I just don't personally like think that's correct. But if nothing else, it's like the fun of making it and stuff. So if nothing else, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for participating and for being here. So we'll turn this into a little YouTube video. We have the ability tier list from last time, which was a really fun one to make. But yeah, I do appreciate it. So thank you.